Hello everybody and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now today we're going to be taking a look at a miniaturized version of Windows XP Service Pack 3 called MicroXP, and I figured that this would be a pretty cool video to do for you guys on the channel because my Windows 7 and XP Gold and Windows XP Black and all those videos have become pretty popular. And I've seen some of you guys commenting on those videos, kind of asking me to take a look at, MicroXP. And I've finally come across a download link for it. I'm not sure if this is the sort of official download link, but this is a forum post by this guy right here. And he's posted the author README file. I'm not sure if this guy is the author or, if he's just posted the author, like the actual README file here. But he's posted all of this as well as a download link and the password that you're going to need for this, because this is a password protected MediaFire link. So I'm going to have this link down below in the video description if you want to go and take a look at MicroXP for yourself. But basically what MicroXP is, if you're not really familiar with it, is a very miniaturized version of Windows XP with Service Pack 3 installed. The ISO file for this only comes in at around 100 megabytes. It's actually 99.9 megabytes when you extract it from the 7Z file or the 7-zip file, which is, a incredibly small ISO file that has an entire operating system on it. And he says here that the Windows folder, when this is, completely installed and everything, only takes up 200 megabytes, which is insane. This is a very small installation. And of course, I'm sure that I'm going to hear, some of you guys saying that there's a billion different Linux distros out there that kind of do the same thing. But this is kind of for the, I guess, you could say like the Windows crowd and those people who are still, sticking by Windows XP that, just kind of want to have like a, secondary machine that you kind of have made up like out of parts, and maybe one of those parts was like a very small like 20 gig hard drive or like a 10 gig hard drive or something like that. And it could even be smaller than that. I mean, I think one guy did it on like a 300 megabyte hard drive and it worked perfectly fine because this only takes up 200 megs for the Windows folder. Of course, if you have a 300 meg hard drive, you're not going to be able to install that many programs on it, but still you can theoretically do it. And what this is kind of for is, as I was saying, is for those Windows users that don't really want to worry about the operating system taking up a bunch of their space. As one of the problems with a lot of these newer operating systems like Windows 10 is, while they are great and packed with all of these wonderful features, all those features take up a lot of space. The 64-bit variant of Windows 10 takes up about 20 gigs of your hard drive space. So if you have like a 40 gig hard drive and you install Windows 10 x64, that's half of your hard drive just gone just to the operating system before you've installed any of your programs. So that means that you only have 20 gigs to install, and that's not really that much because a lot of programs today, if you want to install like games or something like that, you really are out of luck. So what this is kind of for, and of course you're not really going to be doing like some hardcore gaming on MicroXP, but this is kind of for those machines that have really small hard drives, and you just kind of don't really want to worry about having the operating system take up like half of your hard drive space. So it's a very cool idea, and this has been around. As you can see, this was posted on February 10th 2010, so this was 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago. So this is not a new project by any means, but I can see definitely a lot of great potential uses for this even in 2017. So as I said, I'm going to have a download link for all of this down below, and I'm going to be kind of giving you a brief introduction to this, as I've kind of been doing, but I'm also going to be telling you some of the things that have been taken out of this, some of the things that have been added to it, and kind of what you can expect if you decide to use MicroXP. So the author claims that it only takes 5 minutes and 30 seconds to install this, which is also, pretty insane. I'm going to be trying this on Windows XP minimum requirements to see if it still lives up to that 5 minutes and 30 seconds mark, I guess you could say, or that test or standard, whatever that you want to say. And Windows XP minimum requirements are a 64 megs of RAM and a 1.5 gig hard drive space, and a 233 megahertz processor, but that we cannot control with the virtualization software. So this definitely, I can see this changing if you're doing this on real hardware, especially if it's like a very old like an older machine that has like a very slow processor. This could definitely take more time, but one of the reasons why that it's so fast is because that it doesn't have like a lot of data to copy over to the hard drive. This is again only a 200 megabyte Windows folder, so it only has 200 megabytes to copy over to the hard drive, and that's it. So that is one of the reasons why it is very snappy, very fast when it's copying those files over. And I don't think really any other official version of Windows is that way. Now, of course, to make this so small and to make this very lightweight, the author had to take a lot of these sort of unnecessary, quote-unquote, unnecessary features out of this. Now, one of those things is a multiple users, which is kind of a downfall for some people. Multiple users was a huge thing when Windows XP first came out, with the welcome screen and everything like that. That you could do things like fast user switching and go to the welcome screen and easily swap between users. That is all gone in MicroXP. There's only one user account, which is the administrator account. That is the only account that you're going to be able to use, and that's again to save space, because if we just allow the user to make a billion different user accounts, all those user accounts take up space on the hard drive. There's also no native FTP support. This probably isn't going to affect that many people, but for those of you who have your own FTP servers or want to FTP into other people's servers, you're not going to be able to do that natively, but you can just easily download like a client like FileZilla or WinSCP, and you'll be good to go there. One of the bigger features like autoplay, which is essentially the feature where when you put in like a music CD and plug in like an MP3 player or things like that, when you plug those into your computer or insert those in your computer, where it kind of pops up with that window and kind of says, hey, you've plugged in like a new flash drive. What do you want to do with all these pictures on it? What do you want to do with these files? And it kind of gives you a bunch of options. Well, that's all been taken out as well, because that takes up a lot of space also. So you're going to have to manually, navigate My Computer, which I'm sure isn't going to be a huge deal. Also, a couple other things such as scheduled tasks, remote desktop, the Windows themes. The only theme that you're able to have access to or be able to use is the Windows Classic theme. I'm sure you could install themes on top of that, but all the other themes have been taken out. And this is kind of a good and bad thing depending on how that you look at it, but Internet Explorer 6 is completely gone. Well, or not, completely gone, but the Internet Explorer browser is. Which, on a good note, yeah, you don't have to deal with the outdated browser that is Internet Explorer 6, but the bad thing is, well, you're not going to be able to use a full-fledged browser. Of course, it's kind of going out on a limb to call Internet Explorer 6 a full-fledged browser. But there is, the author says he has created a sort of a minimal browser, or he's bundled a minimal browser. There are things like Adobe Flash and Windows Media Player. Those are still present here, so you don't have to worry about, like if you want to watch like a bunch of YouTube videos or play music or watch videos locally, you can still do all of that just fine. But enough rambling. I know that I usually, ramble on in the beginning of these videos, but I do kind of want to give you guys a, brief, I guess, backstory behind this. I mean, this is not like a new project by any means, but I just figured that I would kind of, let you guys know what this is for those of you who have never heard of this before. But we're going to be taking a look at this. As I've said, I have installed, or well, not installed, but I have created a VM here with the minimum settings, and we're going to be timing this. We're going to be going out and actually, let's look up a timer here, and so we're going to do 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and I'm going to kind of start the timer as soon as the Windows XP, like once the installation starts, like once it gets past like the VMware BIOS screen, and once the installation starts, I'm going to be starting the timer, and we're going to be seeing if this actually takes 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, so I figured that it would be a little bit better to use the stopwatch instead of the timer, so that if it does overrun, we can see how much that it overruns by, or if it is, you know, like if it does underrun, if that's a term, we can see how much time that we've saved. So I'm just going to power this on, and I'm going to try to have it to where that both of them are in the same frame. So right now I'm going to start it, and I got to get the VM back because it, you know, that thing popped up saying, you know, setup is inspecting your computer's hardware configuration. And from what I've seen from, because I've watched a couple of other videos on MicroXP, from what I've seen from that and a couple of the screenshots that I've looked at, the installation process isn't very, you know, like exciting or anything like that. Like it's not anything hugely, or not hugely, that's not really a word, but I guess drastically different. Like it's not really anything, you know, very different from the main Windows XP installation. The only, I guess, sort of huge difference, or the major difference, is the fact that the I don't really know the official term for it, but I've kind of talked about it many times in like some of my previous videos, especially the two Windows XP and Whistler development history videos. But the sort of screens where it's kind of talking about all the new features of Windows XP, and where it's kind of still like installing. I don't know if you'd call it an out-of-box experience or not, but all of that is gone, and it is changed with a more, you know, basic looking, almost like the Windows 2000 installer. So if you know what that looks like, that's basically what the like graphical installer portion of the setup is basically like. Although I think most of it is very automated. Like there's no prompts to put in your, you know, name or your company. That's all just, you know, automated. I think it does most of that for you. So we do get this screen. We are 1 minute and 44 seconds in. So it's going to you know, detect and install devices such as our keyboard and mouse. We're 2 minutes and 38 seconds into the installation now. We're just over 3 minutes, 3 minutes 30 seconds, and we are still on the device detection screen, or the installing devices. It's kind of having a hard time getting to the end there. Almost at 4 minutes here. So okay, so I guess I hit next, or I guess it's gonna do it for us. Installs networking components. We're still on the network components. 29 seconds left. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's now you can see how normally it would allow me to put like a bunch of user input into the things, like the work group and everything. It didn't let me do that. It's doing it all automated. We're at about 10 seconds here. It's not looking like it's going to make it. We might overrun just a little bit, but this is definitely getting towards the end here. So we are, yep, we're just at the end, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. So we're going to see how far that overruns. So this could possibly be that the author did not do these tests on minimal settings. That could definitely be the case. Or, you know, this could just be a, you know, again, this is only one test. I mean, you know, you could probably do this like a bunch of times and have totally different results. So, you know, we can't really go by this, but I mean, still, even if it's a little over 5 minutes, 30 seconds, we're at about 6 minutes now, and it's looking like it's pretty much done. So that is still, you know, yeah, see, it's going to restart here. And I think that is it. I don't think it really has to do anything else. So we'll say 6 minutes, 12 seconds is the end if it doesn't have to do anything else. Yeah, I'm going to count 6 minutes and 12 seconds because that is the time that, you know, from the beginning of the installer to the end of the installer. And this is just kind of like a bunch of last minute stuff on the desktop. So I don't know if that really counts, but if it does, I kind of stopped the watch a little bit too early. But so yeah, 6 minutes, 12 seconds. Which is still a very fast installation time, and you can see that the default theme is the Windows Classic theme. There's nothing in the start menu except for the shortcuts on the right. There's no like shortcuts to go to Internet Explorer or Outlook Express. If we go into all programs, the only two folders we have are the accessories and the startup folder, which is empty. And the accessories have also been, taken or very slimmed down as well. The games, which I think are normally in here, or maybe there's a game folder, but that's gone. The only things that we have in here are the core apps, essentially, things like the calculator, command prompt, Directx Diagnostics, disk management, event viewer. And a lot of these things don't have shortcuts in here by default. So that's a nice thing, because things like DX Diag and Event Viewer and Disk Management, they don't have shortcuts in here by default. So that's something that he added in here, which is very nice. Notepad, Paint, MS Services, System Config, and Volume Control. So that's all nice that he's added all that in here. So let's run Directx Diagnostics, and so we can see what all this is, what all this is here. Yeah, you can see that it's got my AMD FX processor in here, and it's still running at 3.5 gigahertz. And everything else looks, pretty, it's not going to be able to figure out who the system manufacturer is, but it just gave it a sort of default computer name. And the OS is Microsoft Windows XP Pro 5.1 build 2600, which is the Service Pack 3. And if we run WinVer, you can see that it says Service Pack 3 right here as well. So yeah, that is pretty awesome. Or we're gonna go through, there's this experience folder. I think this is where the README is, but you can kind of see there are some actual, well, look at this, there are some, I guess, some folders in here for some, I guess, tweaks and stuff that we can install, things like Windows Media Player 11. I think this is the README. Yeah, this is the README right here that was on the website. So this is the same file with everything, networking updates, all of this stuff. So let's go and see, because if we try to run, like, again, iExplorer. Okay, I spelled it right. IEXPLO, iExplorer. iExplorer's gone. So, there's no Internet Explorer, but there is a web browser in here. And we're just going to read the README. Browser is a very small, portable, standalone web browser. So he basically says that, you can use this lightweight browser to download Firefox or Opera. Because, he kind of says that he didn't want to put Opera in here if you want a Firefox, or vice versa. So yeah, it's a super lightweight browser from the looks of it. Which is, pretty nice. So this isn't something that he developed, I don't think, and it doesn't look like it's taking anything from Internet Explorer. So, and I think I have networking turned off in this. So yeah, it's nice that they have or that the author has put a very lightweight browser in here for us to use. We have also got a folder for Media Player 11, which is a link to download it from, I think it's from just the Microsoft site. And it just kind of says, because I think this is going to want to open up with Internet Explorer. So it says that you have to drag it into the browser, web browser. I'm probably saying that right, I don't know. But again, you can see down here just how minimal that this really is. And if we go into things like my computer, a lot of this stuff has been taken out of here. And just to show you that the Windows folder is only taking up 200 megabytes or 201 megabytes. And to give you a graph of the actual size, we're only using 318 megs out of the 1.18 gigs, and it's showing about a fourth here that we are using out of the entire hard drive. And if you had a larger hard drive, or even like a smaller hard drive, you could definitely fit this onto here with no problem at all. So that is definitely very nice, and a pretty cool feature about this operating system. We also got links down here to show desktop. This is the browser, web browser, and then this I think is so the services. So this is if we want to launch Microsoft Services or services.msc, and kind of change. And you can see just how few services that we have in here. Normally there's like a bunch of these. But you can see that even the Microsoft services have been stripped down as well. So we have just the core services, and you can even go in here and turn off these ones that you don't want in here as well. So that is very awesome as well. And Just as a final thing, I guess we can go into properties and view the system properties here, and you can see that he has put his name over it right here and given the or changed the manufacturer logo to the Experience MicroXP 8.0.82 logo. And if you wanted to, you can change the computer name right here. You can view your hardware in Device Manager. Do all of the basic Windows XP functions. The only thing you're not going to be able to do is, things like change the theme, because again, the appearance, like the only theme here is Windows Standard or Windows Classic. So I guess you could change the Windows Classic theme if you wanted to. But I think that is going to about wrap it up for this video. We're about 30 minutes on this recording. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Go and download MicroXP for yourself if you are interested in it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, definitely be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.